You are Locked On Astros Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
For the fourth consecutive season and the seventh time in the last 8 years, the Houston Astros have secured the American League West and punched their ticket back to the postseason, looking to make it 8 consecutive years of going to at least the American League Championship Series. And I tell you what, it is never going to get old watching the Astros secure and then go play in some postseason baseball. It's time to celebrate. Welcome in tonight here to the Locked On Astros Postcast. I am, of course, your host, Michael Connor. Appreciate you guys stopping by tonight, whether you're watching live or later on. It is great to have you here where you can see this show. I'm just going to have all the C puns you can have tonight because how sweet was it to see the Mariners sitting in the dugout crying, not crying, but this is a team that thought they had it in the bag earlier this season. Didn't happen. Hate to see it for Seattle. Tonight's show, by the way, this Locked On Astros Postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals, like Seattle. Book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today. Never going to get old. And I'm going to start the show where I need to start the show, for me. I tried to find the game that it was. It might have been after, I believe it was after one of those games against the Yankees in New York, early in May. The Astros were 12-24. And I feel like that was it. But again, I'm not going to go do all that research. And I looked into this camera right here and I said it was over. And throughout the season, I've apologized for this multiple times. And I'm willing to own it. In that moment, it felt like, good Lord, we are watching the beginning of the end of the run. They were that bad. And this team was, I just saw the tweet from Brian McTaggart a second ago about where they were. And they were way under 500. It was absolutely insane. They were 10 games out on the 19th of June. By the 20th of August, they had a lead. And tonight, on September 24th, they are AL West champions. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. A lot of it can be said that the division is bad, which, look, of the three divisions, it was the worst division in the American League this year. That's not their fault by any means, but we're talking about a team that at the end of the month of May, they were still 8 games under 500. End of May. They did not get back to the 500 mark until the 26th of June. And they fell right back below it, and they got right back to it. And from there, they did their thing. After their 15-25 start to the season, or 14-25 start to the season, they had the best record in baseball from the 12th of May on. The best, or at least in the American League, I should say. They were like 30 games over 500 after that point. And I remember talking about that early in this season and the hole that they dug themselves in and saying, you realize that this team is going to have to play 600 ball the rest of the way. You really think they're capable of doing that based on what you've seen? And they did it. Through all the injuries, through all the, underperformance in certain areas, they've found their way back. They could still technically get to 90 wins this season. It is going to be a little bit weird when they win like 88 games to win the division this year. but it's whatever. I've come to peace with it. All that matters is that you get to the dance, and they have once again secured their way to the dance, and they have been more consistent than any team in baseball over the last decade. That's all they do. All they do is win and win division titles. I know the one season that they didn't win a division title was the goofy year of COVID in 2020. And they've been to the postseason now every year except for one since 2015. Don't forget, 2015, win the wild card, go on to play the Royals, lose to them, who win the World Series that year. But 2016, they had that little bit of a sophomore slump. And I think it's through all the, we like to get mad about this and that and the other whenever a season goes on and, what's irritating you one night versus another. It's nights like tonight that are a great reminder to bask in what this is. We are literally watching the greatest stretch this franchise has ever had and ever will have. Not to say that they aren't elevated now to the status of they're a big boy and they'll always be a big boy and they'll probably always find a way to win. They'll spin where they need to, and you guys keep supporting and doing your thing, and that's going to continue. And look, I know that at times we do the whole fighting over football town versus here's the truth to it. We live in a football state. I've always said this. We live in a football state that is a baseball town. We all love football. I love football as much as anybody else. But there's been no team that has captured our hearts and our souls more than this franchise. They've been the model of consistency. And that stuff permeates and it matters. And you supporting it, which is great, is what allows it to keep happening and keep happening and keep happening. They keep turning profits. It keeps happening. And I think that that's something that's probably not going away. The question is going to be is how long can they keep this level of it up? Can they keep it going this year? I mean, look, of all the teams they've gone into the postseason with, this one scares me the most, especially right now because your best hitter on the team is out, got a knee sprain. Hoping he can get some at-bats this weekend against the Cleveland Guardians. But I feel worse about this team than any team going in. I can tell you that. And yet they're a division winner in a league, in the American League, that, in all honesty, American League's not great. It's not. You got the Yankees. They're still the Yankees. They got the best tandem in baseball right now in Judge and Soto. But they're not even going to be the Astros' problem in all likelihood. The way it's set up right now, the Astros at this moment would play Kansas City. Still don't love. I mean, I don't hate it. They're kind of limping in, and they're still young, but they're feisty. They're playing Kansas City. And if they advance through that, they will play Cleveland in the second round. And Cleveland's like that story to me, that feel-good regular season story where nobody expected them necessarily to win that division this year. They're going to win it. And they wore their bullpen out to get there, and they feel like a team that could get to the postseason. And I could be completely wrong. The team that goes to the postseason and gets beat. But they're going to have the home field advantage, which is going to matter. It's going to matter. I went to those games in Cleveland in that one game, in Cleveland in 2018. It was a good atmosphere. Good atmosphere. I'm sure it'll be a little bit more riled up this time around. You got to get through the wild card round first. But they're there. They've popped their champagne. Which I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's not a full-blown. I don't have the TV up in front of me. You guys can tell me in the comments. But I'm going to guess that it's not a big – I mean, look, they didn't barely celebrate on the field. That's not what they do anymore. They've been there, done that, this franchise. And it's time to go been there, done that now in the postseason and try to, once again, get back to an American League Championship Series, at the very least, for 8 consecutive years. Let's give some love to the guys that stood out tonight. Jason Hayward, big night for him and others. We'll talk about them next year in the Locked On Astros Postcast. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need, the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Locked On Astros Postcast. Tonight, after the Astros have secured the American League West title, baby, let's go. Hey, if you're new to this channel tonight, thanks for joining us. Please hit that subscribe button. If you do that, you can come back. Oh, the Astros are. I've got Yainer Diaz has a Instagram live up. They are popping champagne. So I'm a little bit surprised. I really wasn't expecting them to do that. I figured they'd go the Dodgers route of it, which they did. They did that in 2022 when they won the World Series. That year they won 107 games. They did a champagne toast to celebrate their division title. There's I'm not saying I'm not down. Like, you should absolutely celebrate. Why not? You don't get to do this all the time. This doesn't last forever. You might as well keep doing it. I tell you, from all those years of getting to go down into those clubhouses when the celebrations happen, they are an absolute scene. I don't know how I survived the 2022 postseason run in the locker rooms. The Seattle one I didn't survive. I did not survive Seattle at all. I got soaked in the Seattle clubhouse. In New York, I didn't get soaked as badly because it was they were all kind of in the middle, and I just somehow avoided it. And then the World Series, I actually didn't go into the clubhouse in the World Series. I just did the field in the World Series in 2022. I've been some other ones. I told, like, against Cleveland in 2018. I was there for that series. I was there for all the series throughout the year. I've been very lucky, but I got soaked. I mean, this is back. Baseball has told the players to stop doing it to the media members, but they used to just drench us. Colin McHugh and Lance McCullers just destroyed me in 2018 in Cleveland. There's a picture of me somewhere which will never see the light of the internet, of me with some Astros people and maybe a beverage in the hand. And I'm just completely soaked in champagne. It was crazy. Absolutely crazy. By the way, again, please hit that subscribe button on this channel. I would appreciate it. We keep climbing here on the Locked On Sports Houston page. Thank you for joining me throughout the season. Look, it's been a journey to get here to where the Astros have an American League West title. You know, there's been nights where I've come on here and been mad. I know that you guys are mad at certain things. You know, it's a long season that has a lot. You know, the journey of it, though, actually is the fun part. It really does. To me now, it goes by in a blink of an eye. I used to feel like baseball season took forever, and it's just like now, I feel like opening day was just a couple of days ago. And here we are. I went to one of those games in that series against the Yankees that weekend, and it was like, oh, gosh, what else is this thing going to be? And now here we are, talking about it. So, again, hit that subscribe button. Keep joining us here on this channel. Of course, we got Rockets, we got Astros, we got Texans as well, and the Cougs. I haven't figured out my schedule for the weekend with everything, but we'll be with you for coverages with as much of it as we can get you. We'll still be here for the last 4 games, the plan of the regular season for the Astros. I just don't know about my Sunday yet. Or I should say I know about my Sunday. We're going to do the Texans on Sunday. Will be the number one focus. Look, the rest of these games don't matter in the regular season. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. But I want to give some love to Jason Hayward tonight. I mean, look, big catch out there in left field. Also, had himself the biggest swing of his Astros career at the plate with a big home run to put the Astros ahead, and doing it against Logan Gilbert, a guy who's had really good season, a guy who's had the Astros number at times. And Hayward, I think I saw the stat during he's homered in like 4 consecutive games now that he's played against the Mariners. That's wild. Jason Hayward, Mariners killer. Absolute killer. How big of a role is he going to play in the postseason? I don't know. I don't know how much he's going to play. I'm sure he's going to play some. And he's got some experience. The Astros aren't going anywhere with, him carrying them, of course. The Astros are going to win the postseason. Of course, you have to have the heroes here and there, but it's going to come down to Altuve and Tucker and Bregman and Yiner, and hopefully Yordan, and seeing what those guys can do consistently. And if they can be the big difference makers for this team and, really carry them to an extent at times when they need them to carry them. Same goes for the pitching staff as well. They're going to need the likes of Fromber tonight. Fromber wasn't spectacular, but he wasn't horrible tonight. Then he gave up like 6 or 7. He gave up 8 hits in 5 2/3. So it wasn't normal. Fromber did pick up win number 15 of the season. He's going to finish his regular season 15-7 with a 2.91 ERA. Excellent season for Fromber Valdez. The bullpen tonight too. You got to give them love. I've talked a lot about Brian Abreu throughout the season. He's a guy that makes water nervous, in my opinion, kind of the way that he's pitched this season. But, tonight he looked like, I'm going to nail you down in the postseason every time I come out there, Brian Abreu. I mean, awesome. Inning in the third, didn't allow anybody on base, easy as it gets. Presley, that's a couple guys on. Then you got to go to Josh Hader for 4 outs, which, you never love anybody for 4 outs. I think Hader, I feel a little bit better with him than others, but you just never love the idea of, you got to get 4 outs because you got to go get 2 outs, or you got to go get an out, and then you have to go sit down and get cold for a few minutes. So, you didn't love it, but good on him tonight to do that. Also, of course, Bregman hitting his 26th. Kyle Tucker hit his 23rd. Bregman's had a good back half of the season. I know there's been a little lull here and there, but he's gotten his numbers almost all the way back up to at least where they're close. He's not close, but they're better numbers. And I've said it. I think having the conversation and seeing if you can get it done is probably the move to pull off there. And of course, then you need to go ahead and lock yourself in with Kyle Tucker as well. Let's talk about the remaining games of the regular season for the Astros. How do they go about it? There's only one way to go about this. We'll talk about it next here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. As I've told you, you can get into the cities of your rivals, including Seattle, including Kansas City or Detroit, wherever the Astros are about to play in the wild card round, or the ALDS when they go play Cleveland. You get into those as well. Maybe we're going to get an ALCS rematch of Astros-Yankees. You can go to New York later in the month of October. And then the Astros can play the Phillies or somebody again in the World Series. And you can go to Philadelphia, wherever it might be. Booking.com is the site to use. Booking.com. That's booking. Yeah, of course. Explore all the U.S. cities you've always secretly wanted to learn more about. They've got hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com. You might just find your perfect stay, even if your baseball's rival even if it's in your baseball's rival during the postseason. Go to booking.com today to get yourself started. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. Booking.com, Yeah. One more final reminder before we get back to our Astros discussion tonight, as they've won the American League West once again. We've talked a lot about FanDuel, and hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Locked On Astros Postcast, as the Astros have secured the American League West once again. Thank you for joining me tonight. Your host, Michael Connor. Again, if you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button. Don't be a stranger. Come on back. Let's do it again tomorrow afternoon. Well, we'll have a show tomorrow afternoon for the Astros and Mariners finale. Hopefully the Astros can just stick it to Seattle one more time. Fan base is pretty it's been a little bit fun, I would say, throughout the years of being great here in the American League West. You know, we had the brief period of time where it was Houston versus Oakland, and you know, those fans would pop up on the internet like anywhere else. You always fight Houston versus Dallas, but I always felt like a fight with a Rangers fan is different because they really don't care. They can act like they did. Like look, congrats again. They got their World Series last year. They went right back to where they're supposed to be and where they're going to be. The Seattle fans have always chirped and talked a lot, but it never really made a lot of sense because that franchise has literally accomplished nothing. They've been to the postseason. They pull it up just in my lifetime alone. It's, bad when you look at it. I mean, they snapped that streak a couple of years ago when the Astros swept them in the ALDS. I mean, it had been years since they'd been to the postseason. That was in 2022. And by the way, they went to the postseason that year in 2022. They finished 16 games back of the Astros that year in the division. That's wild. They won 90 games. Astros won 106 or 100. That was 107. I guess it was 106. But before that, the last time they'd been to the postseason was 2001. In my lifetime alone, all of their playoff appearances have come. So maybe I'm old. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's sad. That franchise has been around since 1977. They've been to the postseason 5 times. That's embarrassing. And if you've ever been there, it's a great ballpark. I like Seattle. It's not for everybody. I get it. Like, it's a West Coast city, but I really like Seattle. I think it's very pretty in that area. I think the weather's fantastic. And again, the ballpark is awesome. It's just that it's up in the Pacific Northwest, and it's hard to get players to want to play there because it's so far from everything. But man, 5 times in how many seasons? They've been around since 77, 48 seasons, 5 times. Whew. Astros now, look, percentage-wise, Astros are in their 63rd season. This will be their 18th postseason appearance. Majority of the Astros history is, the mid-2000s were really good. Really, 97 to 05 is really good. Then it was from 06 to 15. It took them from the 06 season. 06 through 14, they did not go to the postseason. And since then, they've missed the playoffs once. That was 2016. They won 84 games that year. What a run it's been. Now, how do they play out the rest of this regular season? To me, it's pretty simple. You rest everybody. You do not mess around with get anybody hurt. Now, you can't completely rest everybody. The roster doesn't dictate that. But you get guys out of games early. Like tomorrow's day game, every bench player that's available starting that game tomorrow. Yusei Kikuchi will make his final regular season start tomorrow, by the way. Then this weekend in Cleveland, they're not playing for anything. If you missed that, Cleveland won again tonight. They have secured it officially that they will be the number 2 seed in the American League. So the Astros are locked into number 3. They will play in the wild card round. Verlander will get a start this weekend. We'll see who else gets a start this weekend. But you're playing it cautious. And then, especially when you get to Sunday, you're shutting it completely down. And you're not playing anybody that you need to play. That's the only way to play it. I know Jordan wants to get some at-bats this weekend. Hopefully he does. Hopefully he can get through it. DH only at this point. And he looks all right. That'd be kind of a big deal for the Astros. What's a big deal, though, is winning another division title. 4 consecutive years now as AL West champions. The Astros have won it 8 out of the last 9 seasons. All of those were the complete full 162-game seasons. The only season that they did not win it was 2020. In the COVID year, 60-game regular season, baseball decided, though, that 2 teams for every division make the postseason that year. So the Astros made the postseason with a record of 29-31 in 60 games. And then they went back to the ALCS once again. It's just what they do. I'm going to go ahead and call my shot right now. They will be back in the ALCS for an 8th consecutive year this year. I think they will. I'm not going to pick them to go to the World Series yet, but I'll tell you that. They're going back to the ALCS again. It'll be great. It'll be a fun time. Thank you to all of you that have joined us all season long. We will not go anywhere. We will be here for the rest of the regular season, then, of course, for the postseason as well. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday night. Enjoy the Astros winning it all. Maybe champagne toast yourself, champagne spray yourself with a bottle, whatever you're going to do to celebrate it. Enjoy it. We'll talk to you tomorrow afternoon after the finale of this series against the Mariners on the Locked On Astros Postcast.